San Antonio, the seventh largest city in the United States and the second largest city in Texas, is widely known for its missions, the Alamo, its elaborate culture, and its iconic market square. San Antonio has so much to offer and has many hidden gems in its past. One gem, Emma Tenayuca, a labor organizer, community activist, school teacher, and the beloved of many, lived in West Side San Antonio for the majority of her life. A powerful leader, Emma made history during the 1937 Pico and Schiller strike in San Antonio, to which she left a legacy not only on Mexican labor workers, but everyone in the nation, past and present. She is often credited for the beginning of the Mexican labor movement in Texas and the first Latino movement in the United States. Tenayuca remains a strong role model for young Hispanic girls and has left a legacy behind that will never fade. During the first half of the 20th century, the influx of immigrants from Mexico continued to steadily rise as the need for cheap labor in the commercial agriculture industries of Texas grew. Unfortunately, the increase of immigrants did not lead to an increase in political representation. In 1901, a poll tax was implemented by the Texas legislature, requiring voters to pay $1.75 at the voting booth. Such an expense was effective in keeping poor Latinos from participating in the electoral process. Politically, Latinos had a difficult time participating in the betterment of what they considered their country, and socially were not allowed to speak out, and if they did, they would be ignored without another thought. In 1929, the most devastating stock market crash in American history shocked the nation. Black Tuesday froze over the American industry and created high unemployment rates. Mexicans and other minorities took the largest hit, even after all they had done to help what they thought was their country. Mass deportation started to take place, and all of a sudden, Mexicans were being bashed and called people who are with us, but not for us. Mexico had been in deep financial depression since 1911 and was not prepared for the flood of new citizens. Mexico, who had been a source of cheap labor during the war, then became a dumping ground for the problems of American capitalism. In response to the Great Depression, President Franklin D. Roosevelt instituted the New Deal for Americans. The New Deal was underrepresented for Mexican Americans and Latinos, like African Americans, and received less benefits than whites under programs such as the Agriculture Adjustment Act, the National Recovery Administration, and the Workers' Progress Administration. The West Side slum of San Antonio was residence to over 100,000 Latinos and became a place of considerable human suffering and a breeding ground for tuberculosis and other communicable diseases. Yet despite everything, Emma raised her voice and demanded the voice of the minorities be heard. Emma Tenayuca was born on December 21, 1916 in San Antonio and was the first daughter of Sam Tenayuca and Benita Hernandez Cepeda. Because of the family's economic difficulties, Emma went to live with her maternal grandparents at a very young age. Emma's grandfather was very interested in political matters and often had Emma sit on his lap as he read the newspaper to her. At only 7 years old, Emma became fully aware of the struggle of the Mexican working class when she visited Plaza del Zacate with her grandfather, a public square where anarcho-syndicalists spoke on San Antonio's current issues and discussed matters with families with grievances. Influenced by the harsher treatment of Mexicans, women, and other minorities due to the Great Depression, Emma paid closer attention to the happenings all around her. At only 16, Tenayuca joined the labor movement in 1932 when she gained knowledge of the Fink Cigar Company and those who rallied against the company for unfair working conditions and lower pay. Emma immediately joined the efforts but was arrested shortly thereafter. Tenayuca then learned that reform takes time and a significant amount of planning, and she took this information with her throughout her career. The Fink cigar strike was all it took to plant the fiery spirit of justice in Emma that she has become so well known for. In 1936, Emma joined the Communist Party where she became an advocate for Mexican-American justice, protesting against deportation and police brutality. By 1937, Tenayuca had risen to become an important leader in the Workers' Alliance of America, a national labor movement. As executive secretary, Emma led the 1937 Pico and Schiller strike. Many pecan shellers were members of the Workers' Alliance. The workers looked to Tenayuca for assistance. As a result, she stepped out of her traditional role as a young Mexican-American woman and defiantly took a stand to support the voiceless workers around her. San Antonio produced about 50% of the nation's pecans, making it the leading contributor in the pecan industry at the time. However, Mexicans who were paid at starvation rates worked 54 hours a week cracking pecans in terrible working conditions. Harsh conditions included a lack of toilets and wash bowls, poor lighting, and poor ventilation. The poor ventilation, together with the industry's indoor dust, contributed to the city's significant tuberculosis rate. Wages were cut by 15% from the average $2 a week. In the 1930s, the strikers were not allowed to picket peacefully or hold public meetings. This was due to the first Red Scare because of the intensely patriotic years of World War I, and because Emma Tenayuca was a communist, some did not follow her in fear of the government. Additionally, Mexicans nor women were ever expected to speak out on any social matter during this time period. The government and many others tried to stop Emma Tenayuca because they believed she was going against the United States. As it was, Emma never wanted to go against America, but instead clean up and reform America for the better of all. Tenayuca's actions were called communist, and today we call those actions justice. By August 25, 1939, Emma had been elected chairperson of the Communist Party USA in Texas and was scheduled to speak at a gathering at San Antonio's Municipal Auditorium. Although only 500 people attended, a mob of over 5,000 of the Ku Klux Klan and other anti-communist groups rioted outside and eventually barged in out of fury when Emma was singing the Star-Spangled Banner, began destroying all of the seats, and tried to burn the auditorium down. Luckily, Emma, as well as other speakers that were scheduled to talk, escaped through a secret underground tunnel in the auditorium. Mari Maverick, the mayor of San Antonio at the time, had allowed the Communist Party to hold their event in the auditorium because he believed that free speech was allowed. Mari Maverick received many death threats from the KKK because of his friendship with Emma. And Maverick went on to be a Democratic member of the United States House of Representatives. This event was followed by a crackdown on communists in the San Antonio workforce, in which the political economic machine that was San Antonio fired and declined employment to communist workers and those who sympathized them. Emma was blacklisted, and due to the lack of income, she moved to California, where she earned a degree in education and began teaching. Emma eventually moved back to San Antonio in the 1960s and taught reading at a San Antonio school. Teaching in the Harlandale School District for many years, Emma earned a master's degree in education from Our Lady of the Lake University in 1974 and later retired in 1982. Emma Tenayuca died on July 23, 1999. A true legacy is not only remembered for an event in history, but also for their effect on the future. Today, Emma Tenayuca is known as La Pasionaria de Texas because of her fiery defense of the working poor, and is named after the Spanish communist politician Dolores Ibarruri. According to Cheryl Tenayuca, people loved her. Before Emma, life was a hopeless picture, bringing only hardship and suffering. Emma rekindled hope to the pecan shellers in a bleak situation. Emma's efforts predated both Cesar Chavez and the civil rights movement, and she stood up at a time when people weren't seen fit to do so. Emma was the beginning of a pattern of people who fought for what they believed in. Tenayuca was a spirited leader and has left a legacy on activists and young Hispanic girls who want to make a change in this world. Cheryl Tenayuca, Emma's niece, is currently a practicing attorney at law and has the same strong sense of justice as her aunt had, and along with Carmen Tafoya, she has written a children's book to leave Emma's legacy for numerous generations to come.